Welcome back to the Heritage Group podcast. Today's guest is a leader and one of the most hands-on agents I've ever met. Karen Beckner is the kind of woman who shows up with a weed eater if that's what her client needs. She's torn out carpets, packed up homes alongside her clients, and stayed until the job was truly done. Before real estate, Karen spent years in the classroom, and that heart of a teacher never left her. She brings patience, wisdom, and a deep sense of calling into every transaction. She's also deeply involved in her community, serving behind the scenes, taking on projects that most would shy away from, and quietly investing in the people all around her. Karen didn't come into the real estate world looking for a spotlight. She came looking to make a difference. And whether she's helping a client navigate a big transaction or stepping in to meet a need, she leads with humility, strength, and intention. You may recognize her from the Matthew 25 Back to School Bash or the John 9-7 Project, just two of the ways that she shows up for the people who need her the most. She's my friend, she's spirit-led, and she lives what she believes. Today on the Heritage Group podcast, we're talking about where that came from, what keeps her grounded, and what's next for a woman who serves with both grit and grace. Miss Karen, welcome.
Well, thank you for having
that
me.
Was a long intro,
That was.
But I had to be thorough because you are a pretty special lady to me. I will tell you that.
Well, thank you.
And I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Let's jump right in. You spent how many years in the classroom?
34.
34 years
34.
as a teacher. And I will never forget the moment you walked into Heritage Group. And tell me a little bit about that. Why real estate? Why, after that many years in the classroom, did you think about real estate?
Well, I retired a little early and kept my grandson for a couple of years. And then I just miss people, really. I miss people. I miss just the relationships. And I always, I'm one of the HGTV watchers, just like everybody else. Love all that. Love, my kids grew up always, the furniture was in a different place and drove them crazy. And, I thought, even asked my cousin, can I show houses without having a real estate license? She said, no, you can't.
I'm going to have to go do that.
Yeah, so I just really thought, I've always wanted to do it. So I talked to my kids and they're the ones who really encouraged me. They said, Mom, you should do it. And, my first thought was, I don't know if I can pass the test. I've only been a teacher. I haven't been in the classroom in a long time.
Yes.
But, I just prayed about it and the Lord just kept pressing on me until I went ahead and did it. And I'm so glad I did.
I'm so glad you did too. And how many years have you been in real estate now? Has it been over?
It's 2 years.
Been 2?
In June.
It's crazy to me because I remember very specifically you coming in and saying, I would love to sell. And I think you had a goal in the very beginning. What was that goal? Did you say, I'd like to list a house?
I think I said I'd like to sell one house.
I think that's what it was. I didn't want to misquote you, but I think you walked in and you said, I think I'd like to sell one house. And it's been so incredible to watch how the relationships that you've built through teaching, serving, and just knowing so many people, investing in so many people in the community, it's turned into very quickly, you are one of the top producers at Heritage Group, which is just, I think it's surprised you way more than it surprised me or anybody else.
Absolutely. It came on really quick. But, with that, you guys have been so supportive and helped me learn at a pace that I needed to learn.
Yeah.
So,
and that was fast. You got thrown right into it. I want to talk to you a little bit about, because I know when you stepped into this, it was kind of like stepping into a second career. And you talk about your age more than I do, because to me, you just look so young. It's hard to remember that you've already had one career and this is your second career. But when you looked into real estate, has it evolved, the meaning behind this career? Has your, perspective of real estate evolved now that you've been through so many transactions? What does real estate mean to you now?
Right. Yes. I couldn't have predicted what real estate was because, number one, not one transaction's like the other. It's you're always learning, but there's a big responsibility with helping buy or sell a home, and just the relationships that I'm all about relationships. So the one thing that I was missing is the one thing you can do and build relationships with all your clients, and so. it's strenuous. I'm just going to be honest. The first 2 or 3 weeks, I quit 5 or 6 times at my counter and told my husband I quit. And he's like, "Really again? You quit yesterday too?"
Oh, that's
just
so
at
funny.
home, just because it's the people part and the selling part. Not that it came easy, but it's the part that I loved. It was all the paperwork and the things that you have to learn to do. It's a whole new career, so it's a whole new thing. And so, with that being said, just every transaction's different. Every client's different. Every day is going to be different. When you get up, you're not sure what it holds, and that's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
And you have done such an incredible job with each transaction. Every transaction and the feedback that I constantly get from the public, because I'll say, they'll ask who I am, and I'll say, I'm with the Heritage Group, and they'll say, well, we know Miss Karen. Miss Karen works with y'all. And I'm so proud to have Miss Karen, because you are someone that has invested so much in the community that I think that people, what you're talking about being your favorite part, it's easy to see that. And I will also say you are excellent with the parts that you don't love as well. I don't know that anyone loves to go grab a weed eater, but my intro started with, I'll never forget, it was the first year, probably within the first couple months that you were at Heritage Group, and I got a video of you with a weed eater, and I was like, what are you doing, Karen? And you said what needed to be done.
That's right.
And I think one of my favorite things about you as an agent is that there is just, if something needs to be done, you're gonna solve the problem. And I remember talking about marketing you as an agent, and I said, Karen, what would you say sets you apart from other agents? And one of the things you said to me is, you said, well, I do have more time than I used to. And so with that time, I'm able to really meet some needs and go some places and have more time for my clients. And it's very easy to see that. You never take the easy way out. And it's really been cool to see. And you've already got repeat clients. You've already had people who have bought and sold and sold and bought. So that says a lot in 2 years,
Thank you.
So let's talk about, now that you have 2 years under your belt, and we've talked about this a little bit, but is there a particular story or a particular client that you think about it and you think that was the moment I knew this was worth it, that I've made the right decision?
Gosh, there's so many, even from the very beginning with the 40 acres on White Rock Mountain.
Yes.
To weed eating, a place for someone to pull in.
Yep.
You just don't ever know. But one of the things that sticks out, there's so many. I hate to just say one, but so a more recent one is just, when there's an age group, because I don't care to say my age, I'm 60. So there's an age group that I like to go help. I like to make sure, like I'm packing up with a client right now. But when someone's going to sell their lifelong home that they built with their husband and he's passed, and it's time for them to downsize, I'll get emotional about this, but, it's not about the buying and selling at that point. It's about sitting and listening and crying with and praying with your client, because it is emotional.
Yes.
Buying and selling your home, a lifelong home, is emotional. So to be able to do that and with the person that I knew had taught with before was so special.
Yeah.
To just reassure, listen, you're not alone. He's not here. He's with Jesus.
That's good.
But I'm here with you, and I'm going to see you through the end. And so that was just very special. And, it's more recent, so it comes to mind.
I love that you're sharing that, because when I think of you, Karen, I think of, you take each moment like that as an opportunity. And I really do believe that you look at your business, as I do, as a ministry, and so when you think of your business like that, it really is every moment like that as an opportunity. And I know that people feel that and know when you're genuine. And what you don't, I guess, see in the TV world, when people look and they see HGTV or they see Selling Sunset. I've never watched it, but I think people kind of have this perception of real estate agents that it's glamorous and it's opening doors and all these things. And although it can be that, the best part, the real part, is the fact that people are trusting you and some of the most important times of their life. And so it's so important to find an agent that really values that. And there's privacy involved, That's something I love is just there's respect. There's a way that you conduct yourself that make clients trust you and know that they can completely trust you and the decisions that you guide them into, So anyways, I love that about you, Karen.
Thank you.
So let's talk next. Well, first of all, I haven't really talked about this yet, but I want people to get to know you too, more than just the real estate side. Tell us a little bit about your husband, because you have one of the cutest relationships. And I know that's a weird way to put it, but I love your sweet husband and the life that you guys have built. So shout out him and then tell us about your family real fast so that people can get to know you.
Okay. Well, my husband is Karen Beckner. And, my husband he can do anything. I always tell him he can do anything. And he's like, don't say that. He really can. He can do anything. He's hands-on. He can fix anything. He's through being a teacher, getting your classroom ready every year. And with all our, we have 3 children. And, he's our go-to guy. And he's always ready to help. And whatever career I'm in, he's a behind the scenes guy because he wants to be. Yep. He lets me be loud and up front. But he's always there to help me. And, just like right now, he's putting in a railing on a house because we need it to close because it didn't pass inspection. Are you
serious? That's
that's
awesome.
What he's doing today. So that's the kind of relationship I have with my husband. I mean, we have 3 children. We have Jake, Paige, and Bo. And, 2 of my children are getting married within this year. And my youngest just bought a house. And so I've got to, do that with him and hopefully with the others. But I have a great family.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool because I see this a lot in real estate. The behind the scenes support that we get, because it really is like you're running your own business. You're running your own business, and there's so many things that you need that help with. And even if it's just at home, just the stress that you bring home, and they're just supportive. I know Cody's so amazing for me with that, and but I've watched that, and I really admire your relationship and your family. Shout out to all of you. I think you're amazing. So I wanted to talk about the fact that you are known for going above and beyond. Where do you think that first started with you?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I think, I was an athlete in school.
Tell them what you did, Miss Karen, because this was so cool to me.
What?
You played basketball.
I played basketball, and I was just telling Eric, I'm very competitive. I was very competitive, too. Probably that wasn't very good when I was younger, but
she means that she wasn't very nice on the court. But
I wasn't very nice on the court,
good.
But I was nice when we came off the court. But I was a competitor, and I always wanted to be the best. Yep. And so I think that drive. Not that I want to be the best now. It's not like that, but the drive is still there.
Yeah.
And so I just if I had a client I've had them for a couple of years, and they were very specific needs. And my husband said, are you still, are they still your clients? I said, oh, I'm going to find them what they want. It was not a burden.
It was a challenge.
It was a challenge. And I really want to get it done, and I'm still working on it. But anyway.
You're not a quitter.
I'm not a quitter.
I have learned that about you, and I love that about you. What do you think that serving well looks like in real life moments? Serving well.
Just in any area. I just think that you put others first. I think that you're intentional about what you do and what you say. And you lead by example. I think I try to always, but not always do I do it. But I think serving well is just putting others first, and not that you're saying, look at me, I'm going above and beyond. But for me, that's where you really get to know the people, my clients. If I'm in your home, if I'm putting in shelf paper in your cabinets because we just closed, or if I'm in your home helping you pack and you're telling me stories of that vase was my mom's, or this was, you get to know your clients. And I think that is serving well, just to let people know that you're interested in them.
Yes.
And so I guess
I've seen that in you, intentionality. I think that's so important. And, from the moment you walked in, I almost felt like the Lord just spoke mentor to me, that this is someone I need to pay attention to. And I don't know if you've had people in your life like that where you know that you need to watch them because there are certain things in their life that that we're supposed to have mentors, in my opinion. And, some of the times when you're younger, you don't think you need that. And that pride comes up and you think, I don't need that. And that's the space where you're not listening to your parents. You're not seeking that wisdom. But I know the older I get, the more I need that in my life. And I don't think that ever goes away at any age. But for me, what I recognized quickly within you was that intentionality, the grace that you give people around you, the way that you are careful with your words, the way that you are careful with your actions. It's definitely something that I want to emulate. I want you to know that. But
thank you.
Just really mean that. I didn't mean to make it awkward for you right there. Let me listen to me brag about you. So tell me, you are very community oriented, which is awesome. And I spoke to a couple of projects that you work on, and you're deeply rooted. How does that influence your community involvement? How does that influence the way that you approach real estate, you think?
Well, it's the same. It's the same thing. I just consider myself a connector in our community. And, I've lived here my whole life. And so I just feel like I'm a connector. I mean, I've lived a long life. And so I know people and that's part of real estate, is being a connector. I called you this morning to ask you.
I was going to say, I feel like you did that this morning.
I did that this morning. Someone called me and wanted to know who they could use for a project. And, and then I was able to call you and then make that connection for them. And I really feel like that is one of the strengths, that how I can tie it to the community. I do the Matthew Back to School Bash, and, as a teacher, and realizing that all children didn't have what they need when it was time for school.
Yep.
And there's nothing more heartbreaking than to see a child go and be embarrassed because they didn't have what they needed. So that started long ago. I mean, I don't even know how many years now we've been doing it, but
tell us a little bit more, because I wanted to ask you about that, but I want everyone listening to also hear about your heart with that, because you started that project, correct? And tell me your heart behind it, and when that is, and how people can be involved with that. So cool.
Gosh, I can't even. I think we started in 2016, maybe 15. I don't remember, but I had an after-school program when I taught school, and so just seeing the needs of those children. It was, high school kids that just needed a place to go and just a safe place to be, and to be able to feed them before they went home. And so just always, my connection with children runs deep. If maybe I taught your kids swimming lessons for 30 years, I did that. Yeah. So maybe I put them on a cheerleading team or a football team when I did that, or taught them. So children are near and dear to my heart. Yes. And so got with some other people and thought, we could do this. We could really, and we started off with, I think, 500 backpacks, and we had a drive-through thing, or we did it at my church. So after COVID, it had grown to about 1,500 backpacks. And so many other churches, 6 or 7 other churches have come alongside us, and businesses, and we're able to use First Baptist parking lot and do a drive-through event. Through COVID, we had to do a drive-through event because we just couldn't be out with people. And so, but it worked so well. And so we still do that. And so it's the first Monday in August.
Oh, so I guess we've got to be part of it for 2 years, just a small, tiny part of it. But it is absolutely incredible. Hands and Feet of Jesus is how I see it. There are so many churches, and it's just an extension. You go to the Current, and it's just an extension, I feel like, of all of your hearts there, of just really putting action behind what you believe in your heart. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, it's not, we made it where it's like, like you guys and the Heritage Group was in charge of water. And so each group is in charge of one thing, like boys' socks or girls' socks or, and so then when you put all that together, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing, and it's very efficient.
Yeah, but for each group that participates, you only have one thing to be responsible for. So it really works so well, and there's just so many people involved. And where I just got a text today from the 2 ladies that I work with, and they said, we need to have our meeting. And
that's awesome.
So we plan ahead.
Well, if you want to know more about that, I'm sure you can reach out to Miss Karen on her socials, or you can find me. But it is an amazing before school program, and so many people are blessed. Thank you for letting us be a small, tiny part of that. So there are a lot of places. I'm pretty sure every single brokerage in the tri-state area wanted you to be there, first of all. So why Heritage Group? Why the environment of Heritage Group? Why us? Why did you pick us?
Well, okay, I'm going to be totally honest.
Okay, be honest. I was hoping you would
I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I don't know another way to be.
Tell us.
Well, my cousin, Yolanda Mullins, works for the Heritage Group.
We love you, Miss Yolanda.
And, she encouraged me as well to go take the real estate exam and do real estate. But I had went to a couple other places and interviewed and just listened to them. And then she said, you really need to come over to the Heritage Group where I work. And I said, yeah. Can I just say?
Say it.
I said, I'm 59 and everyone there is like in their 20s and beautiful.
Oh,
so I don't really feel like, that's the pretty place. If you're pretty, you get to work there. That's so funny because that's just how, I guess I was very insecure. So anyway, she taught me in. And as soon as I came in, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so silly, because y'all are beautiful.
We're pretty silly.
But just such a great, immediately when you walked in the door, I knew just by talking, we talked more about Jesus than we talked about real estate, but just your hearts for the Lord first. Yeah. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is where I can be me and not, feel like I'm, in a place where I can't just, we prayed together before. We've done all that. And so that's my heart. And that's where the Lord has me in my walk with Him every day so if you're my client and you need me to give you some love, Jesus, I'm going to do it. And you guys are okay with that.
Absolutely.
So I love it.
Absolutely. I knew, I'll be completely honest, because I have never, I'm careful to ask the Lord to just, with agents especially, I don't want to be selfish because there are a lot of amazing brokerages in this area. And I want each agent that we have the opportunity to have a Heritage Group, I want them to be where God wants them. And that might not always be Heritage Group. But I remember, I think I told you this, but after you left, I was like, oh, Lord, just please let her want to come here. Because I just wanted you there so bad. And I was like, Lord, please, Karen, please let Karen want to be here. But no, it was funny. And I remember you telling me that. And I said, in my mind, I was like, oh, she thinks I'm pretty. Because, all of us have our own insecurities and we see ourselves differently. But that's one thing I love about our group, too, is I think it's an encouraging group and an empowering group. But yeah, I heard you say that and I thought, oh, somebody thinks I'm pretty.
And once you get to know you, I'll just have to brag on you since you bragged on me a little bit. Once you get to know Erica, she is so talented, so gifted. more than a pretty face, although she has a pretty face.
Thank you.
But just so, when you see anything on socials, it's not me, it's her. She does it. And she's so caring. And when there's something, the area that I'm lacking in, she jumps right in there and makes, I've got that for you. Don't worry about it. And so I thank you for that, and I love you for that.
Oh, thank you, Miss Karen. That is a little uncomfortable when someone's sitting there bragging. I get to do it all the time. But thank you very much.
Yes.
And that's my favorite part of my job is getting to just be there for the agents, being there for all of you, my coworkers that I get to do life with. You spend a lot of time together, and it's just, it makes it so much fun when you love each other. Well, let's look ahead and I was I didn't know what you would say with this when I was preparing, but looking into the next season, what is God stirring in your heart? Is there something now that you've you've been in this for 2 years. So what's ahead for Miss Karen Beckner?
I hope more of the same.
Yeah.
I really do. I hope more of the same. I hope, I hope I have, clients that still need me. I hope that I can continue doing what I'm doing. Obviously I'm going to have a couple of weddings to be involved in with my children and helping them find houses, but really just to keep being with people.
Yeah.
Keep, you start a career at 59, so just be needed, and just to be able to keep that up and be where God wants me.
Yeah.
When He says stop, I'll stop.
And that's so good because even now, we've been in this with Heritage Group for 5 going on 6 years, I guess, and that's been my prayer too. Is holding everything with not a closed fist, but an open fist. And it's hard to get there sometimes because when you love something like we do, we love this because it does give us connection with people. But then I look back and I think, and I'm sure you felt this way, when you gave up teaching, it's a loss. It feels like a loss, but then God has something next for you. And so I love that. And I'm excited to see what He has in store for you in the future because I know He's just getting started. I know He is. This was a cool question. If you could speak something over your next chapter, what would it be?
I would just say, the Lord, go before me. Keep me humble. Keep me to not ever be offended.
That's good.
The enemy will try to do that, and so just to always have my eyes on you.
Yeah.
And if I can stay in that zone, if I can stay there, then I think I'll be good.
That's good. And that's so good. See, once again, you're such a mentor for me because I think when you get to that place where you're anticipating, it's not always going to be easy, but you're anticipating, Lord, keep me in this place. Help me to keep my eyes on you. And what that is saying, I know it's not always going to be perfect, but I know that you're with me and I know that you've got this. And even when I can't see it, you can see it and you're always there, just
That's
like
right.
you did whenever I was teaching and knew that was coming to an end. He opened that next door. And so that's pretty awesome. Well, before we get into our game, because I have to have a little bit of fun.
Oh, my goodness.
I always got to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, you do.
But before we get into the fun, I wanted to give a space for you because I did say this is so important to me to listen to those who, have got some things figured out. And I definitely feel like you have a lot of figured out. So is there any advice that you would give? Maybe I'll give some direction. I want to leave it open-ended, any advice that you want. But also, what about to the women or men who are in that season of their life where they're thinking God is calling them to next space? Is there a certain piece of advice you would give to them or any general advice that you would give to our listeners as well?
Yeah, I feel like as long as you're standing up and breathing, God's going to use you if you're willing. And you can start a new career later in your life. And because all you have to do is take the step and God will, go before you. He will equip you. I look back now and I'm thinking, all this time with teaching and things have equipped me to do what I'm doing right now. I would not have been as good at selling real estate if I hadn't have been in a teaching career first. I really believe that for me. And so don't think your time's over. There's things for you to do and be involved. And if you want to do something that you've always wanted to do it.
Yes,
that's what I say.
That's good.
That's
so
Just
good.
do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
That is so good. Any other advice you'd like to share?
Well, not to sound repetitive, but I really feel like that if you keep God first and centered, that He's won't He do it? I mean,
won't He do it?
Won't He do it? And so for me and my family and my prayer is that that I will always put Him first, and that my children will put Him first, and that I will they will know Him.
That's good.
And that they will have a relationship with Him. And if you don't, my prayer is that you will. And I'll just take the opportunity to say that because you will never be the same.
Oh, that's so good. We could just go ahead and have church if you want to. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Isn't that good?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Can you tell we're a little Pentecostal?
We are little, yeah.
Baptist-costal is what I call myself. Bonus segment. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go.
There's the game.
Let's wrap up the episode with a fun, lighthearted game.
Okay.
Karen?
Let's do it.
I didn't share these with you because I wanted your quick answer, okay?
This could be dangerous.
Quick. Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
I knew that. Mountains or the beach?
The beach.
Mm-hmm. Clean house or quiet house?
Clean house.
Home renovation or new construction?
New construction at this time in my life.
Yes.
Never know.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Saturdays off or a full calendar?
Full calendar.
I kind of felt like you would say that, honestly. Okay. Book in hand or podcast in your ears?
Book in hand.
Did not know that about you. You're a reader. Okay. Coffee shop meeting or front porch chat?
Front porch chat.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
I threw that one out there. I had to ask you that one. I remember one of the first things you said, I don't do all those videos. I said, you're going to do those videos.
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that's so funny. Miss Karen, how much fun was that?
Yeah,
Thank you
was fun.
so much for being here.
Well, thank you
I hope you know how much I adore you. And I'm so excited you guys got to see a little bit of Miss Karen behind the scenes because you are an incredible powerhouse of a lady. I want to be you when I grow up. Maybe not an agent. I might let you continue to do that. But as far as your wisdom, I look up to it. I'm so thankful for you. And if you need to sell your home, I think Miss Karen's schedule is open.
Yeah.
Buying or selling.
Buying or selling. We can do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can find Miss Karen on all social media thanks to me. Except
That's
maybe
right.
TikTok, I'm not sure. But
whatever she puts me on, that's where I'll be.
we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Miss Karen.
Thank you.